So you're probably clicking this video thinking like, no, Ohio did not have a parrot. But trust me, Ohio had a parrot. Ohio could have been known for more than train crashes, subpar cities, and cornfields. It had something really cool, and that parrot was called the Carolina Parakeet. Now, the Carolina Parakeet is most famous now currently for being something that you needed to take a picture of in RDR2 to complete your compendium. But it was so much more than that. And it was something iconic to the Americas, but it was also something that we lost. All right, so let's just get into it. Let's talk about the Carolina Parakeet, what it was, what caused it to leave, and what could it be? Because we will get into if it can come back. All right, so we're gonna start off by talking about the Carolina Parakeet. The Carolina Parakeet was a beautiful American bird. It had reds, yellows, oranges, and vibrant greens. It was something very unique to many of the birds in the United States. The range of the Carolina Parakeet went as far north as New York, all the way south of like the southern tip of Florida. This bird was all over the eastern United States. And like I said, it was in Ohio. It was a native parrot to the state of Ohio. Now this bird wasn't very big. It was about the size of a robin. If you're in the United States, you know everyone sees robins, which is about the same size as some pigeons, but it's like a very small, medium-sized bird. And the thing that was like very unique about the parrot versus like all the other birds in the United States is that this was a very highly social bird. It had nesting sites, and it was even stated that these birds would both nest, like there were multiple couples, because these were monogamous birds. They would share nests, so they would all share in the raising of chicks. It was something very unique to them. They were mostly found in riverbed areas and riverbed old growth forests. So their habitat was across the eastern United States. And something interesting about these birds is not only were they widely viewed as beautiful, they were in tight-knit social communities. They would often be easily found by their vibrant colors, and then the noise they would make in these communities, constantly chattering and talking to each other. They would be so many in those communities that it was said that you could hear them from 5 miles away. And with these giant social communities, it was something that evolutionarily like made them successful, but we're going to talk about how that also made them extinct. So obviously, if you're an American in the United States and you've never heard of this bird or have never seen it, you now know and can obviously think that it's extinct. And it is extinct, it's gone. So now we're gonna ask the question, why did they go extinct? And why did they go extinct? The exact reason, like the 1-point reason that made them extinct, is not known. All of the foundation went out from under them. It wasn't just one thing that killed them, it was multiple. First one we're going to talk about is deforestation. So in America in the 1800s, if you know anything about history, you know that America was becoming more industrial. And for it to become more industrial, we needed more things to burn. And the things that we were burning at that time was coal and wood. So America was just slash and burn policy with forestry. And this bird that loved the old growth and like a lot of these fruiting trees that we were cutting down in the eastern deciduous forests, it was a death sentence. The parakeet was losing habitat faster than it could fly. And with these birds like being non-migrational, it was not easy for them to find somewhere new to go. We as the United States were very efficient in just annihilating forests. We made logging look like dominoes. And it really just did not have any forests left by the time it went extinct. And it's so sad because that is the point of American history when we were starting to really think about conservation. It was so close. So the second reason that the Carolina parakeet may have went extinct is due to overhunting. But there's two reasons that they got overhunted. One is for feathers. The second reason is for their pests. All right, we're gonna go over the feathers. So at this time, obviously, furs, exotic feathers, things that generally animals had on their bodies were collected to be put on human bodies in the form of clothing. And they're also hunted because they're pests. A lot of farmers and documents you can read that they ate a lot of the fruit off of fruiting trees. They ate figs, apples, oranges. They ate everything that Americans grew in the orchard market. Why did I say orchid? And you may be thinking that there's a lot of birds that do these things. There's a lot of birds with pretty feathers that aren't extinct, that were hunted for their feathers. And there's a lot of birds that farmers consider pests. I mean, one example is pigeons, and they're not extinct. Well, here's the thing. So earlier I said that these birds were incredibly social. This is one of the things that brought them to their downfall. There's a wonderful painting illustrating this, and I'm going to put it up here. But these birds often, after one got shot and fell from the tree or was killed, all of the others would flock to it. It was pretty easy. You could just camp there, shoot one, watch it where it fell, and then just blast the rest of the flock, because they have this terrible habit of flocking to the ones in need. So while on the bird side, it's very kind of, sad that they would try to help their fallen comrade. But in the farmer's sense, he could fill up a bag pretty quick. So the third reason that they was connected to their downfall, and it's one that's kind of recently come out through some studying, going through the papers and stuff, is disease. So I'm going to start this off by saying that genetic diversity is incredibly important for disease resistance. So if you're losing your genetic diversity through population decline, then you're not going to be as resistant to disease. So bird flu is something that came up through chickens being shipped around in America, and this was the final nail in the coffin for the Carolina parakeet, was bird flu. It is suspected that the Carolina parakeet somehow contracted this disease, and what little the population had was erased from the map when this outbreak occurred. Because by the time that Americans were starting to recognize that wildlife and preservation of wild areas was important, it was a little too late. There's even petitions and laws going through that were protecting the parakeet before it went extinct, but it was just a little too late at that point. So sadly, right when we started to care about them, they were gone. So we went over why they went extinct, and we went over what they were: incredibly social birds that had a beautiful song, that were fascinating to watch in the wild, and had incredibly high social cues. So can they come back? That's been a question that I've read online, and it's been thrown around, that out of all the things that people are trying to bring back, from mammoths to thylacines to the dodo, that these might have their best chance if brought back. And here's why. So one of the reasons that they went extinct was habitat. And like I said before, if they would have lasted a little bit longer, there was practices in place to bring their habitat back. And it's kind of hilarious that Carolina parakeet has more habitat now than when it went extinct. So obviously they have a home. It's not like their habitat has disappeared. They have a home to go to if brought back. And another thing is, their niche has not been filled. So a niche is the slot that an animal fills in the circle. And the niche that the Carolina parakeet filled has not been filled yet. There's nothing that has replaced it. sycamores, hackberries, oaks, they all need something that kind of spreads their seeds around or spreads their fruit around or kind of like plays that part. Really, it's due to the fact that they only went extinct in 1940. It's not even been 100 years yet. And in evolutionary time, that is like a microsecond. And if we were to clone it and bring it back, we would need the DNA like strands from a lot of specimens. And well, there's hundreds of specimens of the Carolina parakeet that they've pulled DNA from. So as far as bringing back a species goes, the Carolina parakeet will not have nearly as bad a bottleneck as some living animals would. I mean, like, there's some species on this planet that have less than 50 animals left. So let's say if we got like 300 different individuals of the Carolina parakeet back, that is more than the cockapoo, a ground nesting bird in New Zealand. I just think the Carolina parakeet, there's an easy argument to be made to bring it back. Its habitat is back. Its niche hasn't been filled. It is highly possible to clone. And probably one of the more, I mean, they have to get over the whole fact that cloning birds is much harder than mammals, but they're arguing to bring the dodo back. So why not bring this, an iconic American bird? I mean, it would be wonderful to hear a parrot sing on the Appalachian Mountains again. That would be so cool. And heck, they're gonna bring mammoths back. So why not something that would actually make sense? It's just like, I'm trying to think of like what they're thinking. Bring something back from the Ice Age? Or bring something back that went extinct recently that we were 100% the cause of? Mammoths. It's like the thinking is so wild. So yeah, that's what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you like this video, leave a like. Yeah, and see you in the next one.